Hello, my name is Cherie Yanek, Churchill Librarian. Today we are reading Moody Cow Learns Compassion. This book, some of you might be familiar with. This and Moody Cow Meditates, but this is a lovely book about the importance of compassion. And I have a little cow right here from my toddler, but I think you'll really enjoy this story. I know that cows usually aren't learning about compassion, but this one definitely is. My name is Moody Cow. Well, it's actually Peter, but everyone calls me Moody Cow. Except for one time when my friends were calling me Coward Cow because they thought I was a wimp. It all started when my friend Bully and I caught a garter snake by the pond out back. Bully said snakes have to eat live food, so we caught a cricket. I was going to feed it to the snake, I swear. But when I whispered, "Sorry," to the cricket first, Billy laughed. "You are such a wimp," he said as he grabbed the poor cricket and fed it right to the snake. So what do you think about that? Could you have fed a cricket, a little insect, to a snake? I don't know if I could have. I would have felt sad for the cricket, for sure. I understand that snakes do have to eat live creatures, right? They eat rats sometimes and such. But I still would have felt bad, right? The little guy squirmed half in and half out of the snake's mouth. Bully shouted, "Awesome!" He was so excited to see the cricket struggle for his life. "Let's call the snake Jaws," he hollered. I guess I was glad Jaws got a meal, but the whole thing was making me sad. So I handed Jaws to Bully and told him to go home. Bully was so mad, he said, "Oh, I get it. You're such a wimp. You can't handle feeding Jaws. See you later, Coward Cow." "Don't call me that," I said. "I'm Moody Cow." And then I stomped back home. That night I had the worst nightmare. I was as tiny as a cricket, and a huge snake slithered up to me. Its jaws opened wide, sharp teeth dripped with venom. My little legs were shaking. I screamed, "Don't eat me! Don't eat me! Ah!" That is a terrifying dream, right? I'm sure my mom thought I was nuts screaming like that. At breakfast, she said, "Remember to tell Grandfather that dream you had when he comes to do the mind jar with you after school." Grandfather and I sat on our meditation cushions, just like we always did after school. I got out my mind jar, this special jar of water we use to represent my mind, and the sparkles that represent upsetting thoughts. "This," I said, putting a pinch of sparkles into the jar, "is me getting mad because Bully calls me Coward Cow all day." "Why would he do that?" asked Grandfather. "Because he thinks I'm a wimp, because I don't like feeding live crickets to Jaws." "Who's Jaws?" "A snake we caught by the pond." Grandfather said, "I wouldn't like feeding live crickets to Jaws either. Just think how the poor crickets must feel, right? Think about how the crickets must feel." "I know how they feel," I told him. "I had a nightmare last night that I was a cricket, and a huge snake came and tried to eat me for dinner. I woke up screaming like a little baby." Grandfather's huge shoulders shook with laughter, and he smiled gently. "Not like a baby. Like someone who understands how it feels to be eaten alive. Better put a bunch of sparkles in for that one." I put in 3 really big handfuls of sparkles. Grandfather shook up the mind jar, and we sat quietly watching it. I breathed in and out a few times. In and out. In and out. In and out. Right? Breathing can really help calm you down, so try that next time you're feeling a little bit upset. Always helps me. One by one, all those thoughts drifted down to the bottom of the jar. As the sparkles settled down, I noticed my mind did too. "Feel better?" Grandfather asked. I tried not to smile, but I couldn't help it. I did feel better. "Now let's do something fun," Grandfather said. "Come with me." What on earth is Grandfather up to, I wondered, as we picked up Bully from across the street. But Grandfather wasn't talking. Next, we stopped at the pet store. Are these crickets from another country or are they from around here? Grandfather asked. The saleswoman pulled out a cricket for us to look at. These are gray crickets, just like the ones from around here. Grandfather paid for a clear plastic bag filled with live crickets. What do you think? What do you think he's going to do here? Finally, we drove home and Grandfather brought the crickets to the backyard. He smiled mysteriously. Bully and I just looked at each other. We sat looking at the crickets. Cool, Bully said. Look at the dead ones on the bottom. Grandfather said. I wonder what it feels like to be stuck inside there, crawling all over your dead brothers and sisters. I couldn't help shivering. Not very good, I guessed. Bully's face fell. He frowned. Not very good at all. So Bully sounds like he's kind of sad right now, right? That he doesn't think it's a very nice thing, the cricket's life, right? Instead of feeding them to the snakes, what do you say we release them? Grandfather asked. Should we let them go on their happy way? Yes, Bully shouted. Awesome, I cried. Grandfather opened the bag and we carefully held them. Let's look for a good spot, somewhere they can find food and water. How about in the cool shade under a bush or a tree? I found a good spot by a stream that feeds our pond. It was like a cozy cave hidden under a little juniper bush. It looks nice and safe under this bush, Grandfather, and there's lots of food and water. Okay, Grandfather said, first we say, may you be happy to the crickets, and then we'll release them on the count of 3. May you be happy, we hollered together. Then we counted 1, 2, 3. We opened our hands and the crickets hopped down into the bush. Hip, hip, hooray! Grandfather shouted, raising his fist high. Hip, hip, hooray! We called together, punching our fists in the air. Grandfather lay back in the cool evening grass, and Bully and I stretched out too. All was quiet. Then we heard one cricket's song. Pretty soon they all chimed in. We just lay there listening and looking up at the sky until the sun set and stars came out. That sounds really beautiful to witness. All of a sudden, Bully sat up. Wait here, he called, disappearing around the corner of our house. He brought Jaws from his cage across the street and stood away from us by the pond. Do you think he'll be happy here? He asked. You bet, Grandfather chuckled. I bet that is exactly where you found him. Bully held Jaws out near the water's edge, and we all said, may you be happy. The long green stripes slithered into the cool water of the pond. Bully sighed. I guess swimming in a pond is a lot more fun than being stuck in that dinky, stinky cage. I think you're right, said Grandfather. Wild animals are happiest in the wild, just like pets are happiest in your home. Wait a minute, I said. What if Jaws eats the crickets? That, my friend, is the circle of life. I'm afraid everyone needs to eat something to stay alive. At least Bully gave our cricket friends a fighting chance by releasing Jaws far away from them. Yeah, and at least they won't be stuck in that creepy bag, Bully said. I can imagine how the little guys feel now. Then Grandfather got up and stretched. I'm hungry. What have we got to eat? I could go for some nice, crunchy crickets, he said, smiling his cricket smile and winking at me. Bully stopped, horrified. He's joking, I whispered, and we all laughed out loud. May all crickets be happy. May all snakes be happy. May all pets be happy. May all children be happy. May all parents be happy. May all beings be happy. So I hope you enjoyed this story of compassion, of what Moody and his friend Bully learned. Thanks for listening to Moody Cow Learns Compassion. Keep on reading.